All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Welcome, 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 everyone. We are live. We are back. And our topic that we are talking about today, the fall of, how you say his name, Sherrone Moore?
Sherrone Moore.
Sherrone Moore. The fall of Sherrone Moore. Leadership. 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 But before we get into that, we're going to play our song of the day, and then we're going to get rolling. Knowledge is the way.
Saturday evening, the school is in session. 2 hours strong, no time for guessing. We got the doctor, James Thomas Jones, breaking down history, cracking the bones of the lies they told us, the webs they spun, from the labor movement to the smoking gun. Prairie View A&M, he brings the receipts, while a block captain brings the word from the streets. It's the manhood, the race and the culture. We chasing away the hawk and the vulture. From the Ivory Tower to the 50th Street block. It's the doctor and the captain. Watch the clock. Not just the weapon. Hey! History is the map. Ho! Saturday morning. Ho! We closing the gap. Dr. Jones, Maurice Muhammad. Class is open. Let's build.
All right, as they said, class is open. Let's build. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, we got Tranquil already in the house. Peace and blessings, Tranquil. We're glad that you're here. And let's see, we got to put on our seatbelts because this is a lesson in leadership. So, Doctor, straight up with the Sherrone Moore situation, when you first heard about it, what was the first thought to your mind?
That he had been fired.
Mm-hmm.
I got a text from my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a link, and I clicked on it, and I saw he had been fired. I was like, "What in the world had happened that he got fired?" And I kind of knew that it had nothing to do with his on the field performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was, I instinctively knew because I was at Ohio State and involved in a firing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how that process went. And for us, it was on the field performance, but there was in many ways a process that they went through before they let us all go. So, and they actually publicly executed us, so to speak. However, with his, it was different. I'm like this. There's something else going on that it just pops up, just like this. That Sherrone Moore has been fired from U of M. I knew it was something sexual. I'll say that. I knew it was something sexual almost instantaneously because I like I said, like we were talking before we came on the show, I've seen this before. And how certain people get caught up in regards to it. And it's sort of the Kwame Kilpatrick said this when he was elected mayor. He said that his talent had taken him places where his character couldn't keep him.
Mm-hmm.
I see that a lot with men in general, but the majority of men I deal with are African American males. So I see that often with African American males, that what they recognize and they believe is a blessing or is a hookup or is something like that is in many ways a magnifying glass that will in every way show who they are. It's kind of like dumping $100 million in a fool's hand. All that money is going to do is provide them with chances, opportunities, and a chance to really show who they are.
Definitely, I agree with that 1,000%. I think that there's a thing um, that says, what does it say? To whom much is given, much is required.
Much is required.
Much is now. Does that fit in this section for your understanding?
To whom much is given, much is required. You know, you can force it and apply it however you want to, but in this case, I would actually say yeah, because Sherrone Moore did not earn his way to being the head coach of U of M. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Jim Harbaugh had basically run the program aground, cheating, all these different scandals, and they in every way. When you go back and you look at the Harbaugh tenure, you're going to see 11 members of his staff are going to be arrested, charged and arrested for one offense or another. Sherrone Moore, because now they're going to get all up in his shit.
Right.
And one of the things that they found going back up into his shit is quite simply this brother on his public, not the burner profile, on the
Hmm.
public Instagram profile, he's following OnlyFans models.
Oh wow.
And a lot of people at U of M are saying, how did nobody catch that?
Mm,
Because
mm,
that is a major, a crimson,
mm,
glaring red flag. And that's apparently part of his culture. I don't know of his character. I don't know Sherrone Moore personally,
mhm,
but I've always thought that the best way that you can measure a person's character is allow
mhm,
them to do whatever it is that they want to do without there being any immediate consequences to it. That's when you really get a chance to see what they're about and who they are. So
mm,
this OnlyFans thing, and I I hope that this is not true, but I'm seeing it. I've seen it 4 or 5 places. There's apparently one of these OnlyFans models who's come out and she said that Sherrone Moore was actually texting her at halftime of the Ohio State game.
what?
Yeah. If that turns out to be true, he'll never work in the sport again in any capacity.
Mm,
He's not going to be able to get a middle school head coach.
mm,
It's a wrap for you career wise. It's a
wow.
wrap. So the idea he was, much was given to him. They gifted him this program. They didn't do a head coaching search when Harbaugh left. They gifted it to him. Harbaugh said, I think this is the man for you, gave it to him.
Mm,
And
mm,
it's it's been something. It's been something. And I will admit, and as you know, um, I'm a Buckeye.
right.
And this has been, within our community, absolutely positively hilarious
Hmm.
because they literally slit their own throat several
Mm,
times. They didn't get punished for the cheating scandal, and
no.
they're right now in every way they're not going to escape this.
Mm, 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 mm. You muted yourself, Doc.
Yeah, my son was calling in real quick,
Uh,
but yeah, I mean they literally slit their own throat. The interesting thing is going to be because they have this thing that they refer to as a Michigan man. That's how
mm,
Harbaugh got the job. That
yeah.
they want men who are raised up within the U of M culture, and the new head coach should be a Michigan man. And this, we're going to see if they're going to adhere to that because what they've done now, these have been Michigan men who have gotten them in this situation. But Sherrone Moore, back to him, the idea of the absence of integrity, the the lack of common sense, the inability to literally weigh the cost and the reward of what it is that you're doing. Here you are a man who has been gifted a job that is paying you $5.5 million a year. $5.5 million a year.
Mm.
Now, by my amateur calculation, that's about 470,000 a month.
Mm.
And you threw it all away because not only have you lost that job, but you got fired for cause, a morality cause. So U of M is not on the hook to pay you anything. Like unlike Penn State, who had to pay James Franklin because he kept losing big games, they had to pay that brother to go away. This
Mm.
brother is not going to get anything. And you wait until he hits divorce court. What he has earned, they're going to take that.
Mm.
What he has now is going to, whatever he has at the end of this process, is what he is going to have to live off of for the rest of his life.
Mm.
And living a undisciplined life, as he's clearly shown that he does, that money's not going to last very long.
Wow. So I want to take this time out and welcome Mel Tucker to the program. Peace and blessings, Mel.
Oh,
Mel Tucker.
no, you're reading that wrong.
That's what it says.
That's Sea Dog. That's I know who that is. That's no Mel Tucker ain't here. Mel Tucker better not be here. That's another brother that has fallen at Michigan State. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then we also have Sheila Neal, peace and blessings, Queen. We're glad to see you.
Welcome.
Missed you, ain't seen you for a minute, but we're glad you're here with us tonight. And also we have Emerald Jules, peace and blessings, Queen. We are glad that you're here with us tonight.
Welcome.
And so I'm going to just give everybody a rundown on the situation so far. So here's the breakdown of what's happening with Brother Moore. The firing happened on December 10th, 2025. The University of Michigan fired Mr. Moore.
What day of the week is that? Can you give us the day of the week?
The day of the week
because it happened so fast. I think that if you
a Wednesday.
Everything happened this week.
Yeah, it was Wednesday.
On Wednesday. This is what happened.
So he was fired for cause immediately. The official reason, the university stated that they found credible evidence that Moore engaged in inappropriate relationship with a staff member, which violated the university policy. The financials. Because he was fired for cause, Michigan likely voids his buyout, estimated at roughly $14 million. He essentially lost a multi-million-dollar contract instantly. The arrest. Hours after being fired, Moore was detained by the police in Salem,
Wednesday.
Still Wednesday, yes. Details, he was turned over to the Pittsfield Township Police for investigation into an alleged assault or domestic incident. Reports suggest that he may have threatened self-harm during the encounter, adding a tragic mental health dimension to a legal one. The context. Moore was the first Black permanent head coach in Michigan football history. He had just taken over from Jim Harbaugh, who was navigating the program through the existing NCAA sign stealing sanctions, the Connor Stallion scandal, and a rebuild year. He was previously implicated in the deleted text scandal regarding the NCAA investigation, so he was already under a microscope. Now, this is a profound teachable moment, particularly viewed through the eyes of manhood, leadership, and responsibility. And as you had just spoke about, Doc, to whom much is given, much is required. Moore reached the pinnacle of his profession. He held one of the most prestigious jobs in sports. Now, Doc, you also said that it was given to him. So the question has to be asked, was he a good football coach at all?
Was he a good football coach? That's, to be honest with you, he was a tremendous offensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's what U of M became known for when he was there. And then they actually won. I want to call it the Joe Moore Award or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
where it goes to the top offensive line. They won that one year. So as an offensive line coach, he was formidable. But I hesitate to say that he was a good coach because there's so much more that goes into it, especially and I'm taking it that you're talking about a good head coach. There's so
Right.
much more of it that goes beyond the what happens on the field as far as being a good head coach. What I will say is we don't know
Mm.
because his sample size is number one small and number two tainted by the cheating scandal. They were cheating. They were going to see their opponents play, taping them and getting their signs down so that when they played them, they had all the signs. And if you looked at Connor Stallion, if you go back and look at any of those games, you'll see Connor Stallion literally waiting until the team signals in their play. And then he gets real active. And we're talking about maybe 3 to 5 seconds before the ball is hiked. He's either pointing down to the ground, and all the U of M players are looking directly at him. And
Mm.
he's either pointing down to the ground, meaning there's a run, or up in the sky, meaning they're getting ready to pass it. So with that going on, you can't tell really. But what I will say as far as the other things away from the field, there's no way he was good at those.
Mm.
And those other things, when I was at Ohio State, I worked under John Cooper's administration, and Coach Coop had 3 radio shows a week, 2 television shows. The head coach is like a chief administrator who is just moving, pushing buttons and moving things. He's hobnobbing. He's talking with boosters who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's doing all of those things. Coop Coop had we had this golf tournament thing where they get these people to pay all this money to go out and they get to hobnob with a coach or a player. You knew who Coop was going to play with. He was playing with the guy who owned the Mercedes-Benz dealership, the Cadillac dealership, and like a Jag dealership. And by
Mm.
the end of that day, everyone, and this was written into his contract,
Mhm.
everyone in his family got a brand new car as far as leasing it, where they just got to drive it. That was one of the perks of it.
Mhm.
If you think back to went back to when Dion went to Colorado, the
Mhm.
biggest question was, can those boosters deal with a Negro who's rich,
Mm.
going to come off as being arrogant
Mm.
because he doesn't need their money? And Dion's never, he has no reason to scratch his head when it doesn't itch around those types of people.
Right.
Can he fit in that culture? And it's not even a thing of can he fit, can they accept him as the way he is? And resoundingly, they're not going to do that.
Mm.
And so I say that about Moore to say this, that the people who I've heard talk about him have all said he was a nice guy. He was very personable. He was easy to get along with, this and that.
Mhm.
That all can be true. Yet at the exact same time, the words of Woody Hayes, our famed football coach, Coach Hayes would say this: you win with people. And he's talking about surround yourself with people of good character. Because when the pressure comes and the opportunities come, that's when character will show.
Mhm.
And what this brother has done, he's wrecked his life. And it,
Mhm.
it kind of put me, and I was thinking about this earlier today. Is it better to have never had money than to have gotten it at some point and then lost it?
Damn.
Which one is better? Because if you're sitting on a $5.5 million job, your
Mhm.
money problems are no more.
Exactly.
sort of like hitting the Powerball or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Your money woes are over overnight. He did the reverse. So his money problems are right back in his face.
Mm-hmm.
So was he a good coach? That's difficult to say. It's very, very difficult to say. What I will say is that I know that the U of M people wanted him gone even before this year because they didn't think that he would ever be able to take them to the heights that their arrogant asses think that they should be at.
Wow. Interesting. So Sheila Neal says that she says, I'm very sad that this happened, but even though you have to pay for your consequences for years of blood, sweat, hard work, and it took matters of minutes of destruction of his life, I feel like it's a setup. And then Sea Dog also added about Tucker. Mel Tucker lost $100 million deal at Michigan State for literally sexually harassing the sexual harassment liaison for the school. How
Yeah.
fucking dumb can you be? The damn liaison?
Yeah, he actually brought her in to do that job.
What?
That's the one that for me I think was a setup. Okay, I don't believe that Sherrone Moore's was a setup because his was a result of a ongoing affair. He had been dealing with his executive assistant for a long time and had actually doubled her salary in 1 year. Mel Tucker is something different. That how many people do you need to have it for it to be a conspiracy? That's my question to you. How many?
2 or more.
Okay, that wasn't no conspiracy. She did this on her own. She knew what the threshold was. She knew how to get him kind of worked up, and she knew to tape him.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
She taped him over the phone. He wasn't in her presence when the offense occurred. And I talked to somebody, I said, this is one of the classic examples of how we no longer expect people to utilize their education anymore. She used her education. She understood what the situation had to be. She understood what the threshold is for it to be harassment. And when he crossed that threshold, she reported him. She got him. Now, did the white folk want Mel Tucker removed from Michigan State when he was removed? Yes, because they had signed him to that $100 million contract. They haven't been, Michigan State ain't been no good since Magic Johnson was there, and that's a whole different sport. Okay,
Good Lord.
so he came out, he busted out 1 year. They won 9 or 10 games, and they're worried that somebody's gonna come and snatch Mel Tucker up. So they gave him that contract, and they went right back to being Michigan State the next year. Now they had to figure out how to get out from under this contract, and this situation came up, and they got him. They got him. 100 million.
Damn. So, Doc, what do you think of this? I think this is one of the lessons in this thing, is that the higher you ascend in leadership, the less freedom that you have, not more. Your personal life and your professional life are no longer separate. Discipline isn't just about play calling, it's about self-governance. When you hold the keys to the kingdom, you cannot be reckless with your personal conduct. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. The truth of the matter is, and I don't care what venue that you're talking about, what people want, because most people don't care about other people by and large, especially people they don't know. What they want is to be associated with fame. And once you get that fame on you, then that spotlight is on you. And everything that you do is going to be scrutinized and blown up and things like that. I can tell you, for me, just in the past 2 weeks, if I was under a spotlight
Mm-hmm.
with somebody really notable, oh, I'd been all over the news because I didn't did stuff in the last 2 weeks that people would say, look at this fool right here. Okay? You know, I was in Sam's Club,
Mm.
and this happens to me. I see black folk, I like to speak. That's my way of acknowledging your humanity, my humanity. I like to speak. Okay. Now I spoke with this sister. Okay, just said hi to her, what have you. And she just kept walking. I said, well, then fuck you then, bitch.
Oof.
Okay. Now, if I'm on camera, if I'm being watched, that's gonna make TMZ. Yo, look at this fool right here.
Exactly.
Okay. But it's if you're under that scrutiny, that's what's gonna happen. Sherrone Moore, this is not a mistake. This is the unveiling of a lifestyle, of a lack of being grounded in regards to decency and morality. And as you just said, he can't afford that now.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to get so high that somebody on the come up will not try to come up off of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's principally what happens to them, pretty much to all of them. Look at all of them who have fallen. They have almost all been undone by someone that they had some level, some form of a relationship with. Every last one of them. I don't care if you're talking about R. Kelly, Diddy, all of them. It's been someone that had access to them who, for whatever reason, decided, okay, this is the moment. Because she is getting ready to sue U of M. Because anyone who's worked in academia, and I don't know, I've been in academia my entire adult life, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that this probably occurs in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have to take those, what are they called? They like HR modules,
Mm-hmm.
where they tell you that this is sexual harassment?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the university trying to protect themselves from litigation. Because you sign at the end and say, yes, I've gone through this, I understand this. So anything you do is on you. Okay. She's getting ready to sue both of them. Under the charge of rape. I couldn't say no to him. He was my boss. He told me if I went along with it, that he would double my salary, and that happened. Now you don't know if that's but it damn sure looked like that's what happened.
Exactly.
So the idea of the absence of morality, the absence of manhood, let's just call it what it is, being funneled into a situation where, quite simply, now you are literally sitting in a cell by yourself thinking. And they're walking by that cell to make sure you don't kill yourself, because some Negro is going to face punishment because you pulled an OJ. You grabbed knives, pulled a kick door, went in there and scared that white woman to death. We're gonna have to give you some years behind this, Sherrone.
Definitely. I want to welcome Earth Angel Remix, Peace and Blessings Queen. We're glad you're here. And looks like she's on the hunt for a tetherer. So let's see how successful her hunt goes this evening. We got to get him out. So also, Doc, the cost of the moment. He dropped the ball on a generational opportunity, a $6 million a year salary, and a legacy over an alleged relationship and loss of emotional control. So one slip in judgment can erase decades of grinding. We often teach young men to work hard to get the position, but we don't always teach them the discipline required to keep the position. The bag was secured and it was lost due to a non-football decision.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that, because we see it all the time in the NFL where players, get there, do something dumb, and next thing you know, they off the team, they in jail. All of these things can happen. Recall, I think it was one receiver that's for the Chiefs now, Rice. I forget his name.
I don't watch them scrub teams, man.
Yeah, well, Rice was in a major car accident, and some people got killed or whatever, but they eventually, got his way out of there. But that thought of discipline, of how you're supposed to behave when you get to that level, that's something that's not taught. Well, why is that?
Well, but the thing is that there's so many guys, and anyone who has played sports will be able to testify to this. Those who make it to the NBA, let's just use basketball. I used to play basketball. So those guys are not necessarily the best ball players. And you have some who were just so doggone athletically gifted and skilled that they were going to make it regardless. But there's a level between the superstars and the regular players where there's a lot of cats that didn't make it, and some of them didn't make it for personal reasons, for off the court reasons, and some who made it actually lost their positions because of their behavior off the court. So it's difficult for me to say that they should learn once they get there.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost unfathomable to me that you didn't learn and you were lucky enough to be able to miss all these landmines and still make it there.
Mm-hmm.
Because people get tripped up early now. One of the guys, and I won't say his name, but he was undoubtedly, irrefutably, indisputably, he's the best 9th and 10th grade basketball player I've ever seen in my life, bar none. And I've seen Lenny Cook play. I saw LeBron play. They had nothing on his brother. This brother was absolutely incredible. And we shared, one of my assistant coaches in high school coached him. He was his assistant coach. And I had run into him and I said, Erskine Braggs, that's the coach's name. I said, Erskine, I keep hearing about this kid. What is he like? He said, okay. He said, check it out. Remember the team your senior year? I said, yeah. He said, okay, take the best qualities of every player on that team and put them into one. That's who he is. But he's bigger and he's stronger. Okay. I went to an open gym to see him play. He's out there playing against the Ohio State basketball team. And this kid, once again, is a freshman. 14, 15 years old, giving them the business. Okay. Wasn't recruited by a single major college team. His teammate, Kenny Gregory, actually made it to University of Kansas and might have made it into the league for a year or two. But he ended up washing out at a HBCU, couldn't even make the team there.
Damn.
Yeah, couldn't make the team there. That's how far his fall went. You're going from the number one rated 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader to 2 years later, you can't even make it on the squad of a HBCU. And it was a combination of drugs, combination of fast living. And one of the ironies of it is, quite simply, it was the exact same path that his father took. The exact same path. Older cats would say, you think he's something, man, you should have seen his dad. So the idea of being able to govern yourself away from the court, from the field, character matters mightily. It matters mightily. And as I've told you, I worked for the Ohio State football program. The kids who
Right.
didn't have character, didn't have discipline, didn't have it, and we're not even talking about the athletic part of it. We found a way to jettison them up out of there because they don't want to go to class. They don't want to do right. They don't want you have to be literally all world. And I'm talking about all American for you to have some bad character traits and to be able to make it in big time sports nowadays. Because the spotlight's on you everywhere you go. It's on you. Anything you do, it's on you.
Wow. And Earth Angel brings up the point that he doubled down on the white woman here. And I just want to share this picture real quick. And just look at this. So this is him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is the girl that he was going after.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Doc, is it now? Earth Angels also says that he's not from America; he's from Trinidad. But we see it in black men here in America. Some, not all, but some. That white woman is has a great pull. I would say I'll use that word. But I don't remember which comedian said this, but it was like, when you see a black man with one, it ain't the best of the best. But when you see a white man with a black woman, it's normally the best of the best. We'll just take any old fat rag hag from any over kind of way, just pull them, and we're glad that they're white.
Out in the holler.
Yeah. It's to me, it's just really asinine.
Well, but to in fairness, we try to be absolutely fair in what it is that I'm getting ready to say. Okay, in fairness, because I've seen how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I as they say, I synced it.
Okay.
They're getting these guys their freshman year in college, if not high school. They are aware. Okay, they're aware of who's going to start. They're aware of who's going to get drafted, and they make themselves of some use and utility to them. They are assets to these guys early on. Now, in saying that, these girls, by and large, and I'm generalizing, but from what I've seen, my anecdotal evidence is that they're very accommodating and easy to be with. When these guys got out of practice, those white girls was lined up, okay, because they're doing two-a-days. They're lined up with their favorite protein drink and whatever lunch that they know that they need to eat, be it 2-3 Subway sandwiches, whatever it is. And you will see them disappear into a car. They'll sit there and they'll talk, they'll eat, and then it's time to start the second part of the day. Now, compare that. Now, black women don't get upset. There are principally a couple archetypes of black women that I saw around the athletes. One archetype, I almost had to call the police on her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because she refused to leave. My guys are 18, 19 years old. Their critical thinking skills ain't developed all the way. And I know that. Had this sister who looked like she's probably late 20s, early 30s. Dressed, she was ready to go. Okay. All right, she was ready.
Mm.
And she positioned herself on the third floor of our building where the athletes are at, where we're running study table. They have to pass her to get to where
Mhm.
I am, which is where they're supposed to be. There's no way to get to me without passing her. And she's saying something to every one of them, only the brothers
Mhm.
that go by. Now, I got to protect my guys, so I got to go over there and I got to ask her, "What are you doing here?"
Right.
And
Exactly.
her response
Exactly.
was, "This is a public building. You have no right to ask me what it is I'm doing." I said, "Yo, once again, and I'm being nice. What are you doing
Mm.
here?" Okay. She
Mm.
won't respond. I went, called the police. She had left by the time they got there. But I talked to the players, and what she was doing was inviting them to come to a party or something where there was going to be an agent there that he was going
Mhm.
to sign up some players. Now we have a front door where we have an agent. We had an agent day at that time where all the agents could
Mhm.
come on and you could talk to them. Okay. That's one archetype. And she's not really the college girl. Another archetype was I remember this day very well. We're leaving study table all in mass, and there were these two black girls. They were college age. I don't know if they were college students, and one of them, and I still remember the quote to this day. I bet I'll remember this
Mhm.
quote on my deathbed. I don't know why they fucking around, because don't no bitch up in here's pussy get as wet as mine.
Oh
That's
wow.
what she said. Now I got a couple guys that went over there, hey, baby, blah 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 blah, and I got to corral them and like, yo, that ain't what you want. Okay, that's another archetype. Then you have the sisters
Mm. Mm.
who
Mm.
are what I would argue in the normal range of black girls and how they're socialized, and they're socialized to not approach men. They're socialized to not cater to them. Girls, don't be nobody's fool. Blah 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 blah
Mm.
blah. Okay, what he doing for you, girl? This and that. Now, take a brother, and the vast majority of them would prefer, and I'm only speaking about my guys, would prefer to have been with a black girl,
Right.
but she's playing hard to get. Now, I got 2 hours
Mm.
in between when classes end at 4. I got to go and
Mhm.
eat at the tape the whatever they call the food table thing, the training table. At by six
Mhm.
o'clock, I'm in practice until 9:30. I ain't got time to be chasing you.
Right. Mhm.
So now the white girl knows I get off at 9. I'll hit my apartment about 9:30. She's there with food waiting on me. Who do you think that they're going to end up getting familiar with?
Mhm. Oh Becky.
There you go. And and people
Oh.
people are approaching it from the standpoint of, oh, these brothers, your
Mm.
mama black and blah blah. Yeah, their mama is black. And them
Mhm.
them getting with someone who is able to help them navigate what it is that they're going through is
Mm.
priceless.
Mm.
And
Mm.
let's be fair. When it comes time to sign that contract,
Mhm.
you want some white folk who feel comfortable with you. And ain't nobody gonna pave that road of comfort for this Negro from the Bronx who I'm not gonna say he can barely talk, but he ain't refined other than someone from their culture. And before you know
Mm.
it, they
Mm.
had a
Mm.
couple kids. He wants a family life. Do you blow all that up for the sake of race?
Mm. 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 So, well, if that's the case, then shit. Then Sheila Neal could be right that the shit was a setup. If that's
I
how
don't I
things
don't I
go.
don't call it I don't call that a setup. That's not a setup. That's having a plan. The difference between, if you ever get time,
Mm.
watch this great movie called Mona Lisa Smile. Okay. And it's about a teacher who goes to one of these high crust private schools in the Northeast, like, Boston or something like that, Rhode Island. This teacher is going to be beyond frustrated because she wants to teach her girls about life and things like that. Those girls are there for 2 years at most. They've arrived on that campus with the idea and the understanding that they need to find a husband. They're not looking for a BA or a BS. They want an MRS. They got to find him. And when you find him, you cater to him and you don't let him go. That's the vibe that they're on. Whereas Black girls are, and it comes out of our cultural history, our economic misery. They're sent there to, girl, get your books. Get your books. Don't you get sidetracked chasing after them boys. Blah, 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 blah. Well, the white girls are sidetracked by chasing after them boys. And they're going to cater to them. They're going after them. Is it a plot? Is it a plan? Yeah, it is. Conspiracy, I don't see a conspiracy, but it's a plot and a plan, and they pull it off seamlessly. And the thing is that, look at Juanita Leonard, Sugar Ray's woman. Juanita Leonard was married to what, 3, 4, 5 professional athletes? I want us to get 3, 4, 5 professional athletes because she's moving in those circles. They're moving in those circles. And despite what people think about these individuals, the truth of the matter is they're just regular cats who have an amazing physical ability. You're going to find the same ones are socially awkward. The same percentage are socially awkward. Don't know where to go meet anyone. Who's the brother? I want to say it's Michael Beasley, but it might not be Michael Beasley. No, it's Channing Crowder. I think that's his name, who talked about on one of the podcasts of how lonely he is, that he doesn't have any friends. After he finishes with practice, he said, I'll just go back to my room and I would just sit in the dark there, depressed. Now, in people's minds, these cats at the club, they doing X, Y, and Z. No, not necessarily. So can you fault someone who is going through that, who ends up going out to a restaurant and the waitress is super nice to him? And he said, when you get off, because that might be all that it took. And factor in there, I had to throw this in there, factor in there the memories of seeing sometimes a trifling ass Black woman as your mama, and knowing I don't want that. When I go home, I want it to be calm. I want it to be quiet, because you're just built like that. And if you have people who are raised in chaos, they look at that calm and that quiet as being boring.
Ooh, boy. So Earth Angel asked you a question. She said, is that an excuse, or are we having a history lesson?
Is what an excuse?
And then she says, because white girls can fuck up and still have everything handed to them.
Well, but see, the thing that I will say to that is this. Do you know them? Or are we just going off of sort of stereotypical caricatures of who we think they are and what we think their lives are like? Because I've seen all sides of it. I've seen white girls get with professional athletes. She wasn't white. She was something other than she was Black and like Filipino or something like that. Nevertheless, somehow I wound up involved with her. And she dated a guy who was an NFL All-Pro. Okay, one of the biggest brothers that when my homeboys heard that I was dealing with her, their advice was leave her alone. and I quote, "That negra will eat you." Okay, that's how big he is. Okay, but her situation, they had two kids together. She was with him in Chicago. He was a bear. Okay, she was with him, and the relationship, typical thing. She's up there. She doesn't know anyone. The only person that she knew was his publicist. She says the worst time of her life. So she winds up breaking off the relationship, going to court, expecting him to pay child support. His attorneys were so good that they said that the NFL season was 11 months long. And the only time that he had to be able to go to court was that period between the All-Star game in Hawaii ending and training camp. And it was like 40 days. Her children were 13 and 14 when I was dealing with her. He had never paid a penny of child support. Had kept it tied up in the courts the entire time. He offered her $1 million per child to walk away from everything, and she refused it. This Negro moved back into the projects, okay, with his mama. Sports Illustrated did a story on him, and the reporter says that this guy's brother walked in the project apartment and said, "Yo, man, yo, let me get 150." And he said, "All right, man, it's in the back, man. Go ahead and get it, man. Get what you need." He said, "I thought he meant $150. He said he meant $150,000. And he watched his brother walk out of that apartment with a backpack that had $150,000 in it. This is a man who earned over $60 million during his NFL career. Okay. Said they went down to the grocery store. He left $5,000 at the counter of the grocery store. Said this is to pay for everybody in his groceries.
Damn.
And she told me, she said he told her to her face, "I will give this money away before I ever pay you a penny." That's the other side of it. That you look at them and you start filling in these gaps that, she got it made. Oh man, please. These chicks are getting beat. These chicks are having to strip, all types of stuff. And to be honest with you, that was their relationship. That while he was in college, she would strip. And this is a woman who spoke 6 languages. Okay, was a military brat, had lived all around the world. Okay. She would strip so that he would have money to have the Jordans and all the other stuff, because this big old country boy whose family ain't got no money, they from the projects. And once he made it to the NFL, he was supposed to take care of her. That was their deal. Didn't work out that way for her though. And so I think that there's this comedian said it best. He said, yeah, you sisters all mad about these brothers going around with these white girls. Let her have him. She'll find out. You can't have it both ways. You can't on the one hand say that black men are by and large ain't shit. Right. And then turn right back around and say, well, look, all these good black men, they go over there. Which one is it? Mm-hmm. Or is it just to suit your argument? You say, well, yeah, they ain't shit. But on other occasions, they got all the good ones right there. Which one is it?
Right. Shit. I know one thing, they better, those black men that go that route better wake up quick, because that ain't the right route to go.
But let's be fair now. How many brothers been done in by sisters with millions of dollars? Come on. And it's to the point now for me, the way I look at the world is that not that race doesn't matter. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if you get with somebody who is a hyper consumer, who need 40, 50 pairs of shoes and 40, 50 bags and things like that, There ain't nothing you can do with that, regardless of the race. Nothing at all.
Mm, mm, mm. Sometimes, and I think this a lot when we're measuring our people. I think that one thing that I always keep in my front of my remembrance is that they are victims, right? They are victims, and this something that has to be taken into account. When you're dealing with the white woman, you're not dealing with a victim. When you're dealing with the European woman, no matter what European country she's coming from, you're not dealing with a victim, though.
But what have they been victimized by?
Who, black women?
Yeah.
Going through the same shit we've been through, going through slavery and all of that Jim Crow and breaking up of the families, breaking up of the homes. Women don't know how to be women. They don't know how to use their femininity. Men don't know how to be men. All of that matters. And unfortunately, as we're looking at our people, we're looking at the product that white people produced. It ain't like we just, came out of nowhere and said, fuck it, we're gonna just stop, being good people and we're gonna just be niggas. We're gonna just
but this would be my question. Do we have a monopoly upon that?
It would seem to be if you let the media tell it. It would seem
but
to be.
but we're both educated grown men who have lived life.
Mm-hmm.
I can point to white folk who are in the same situation that a lot of black folk I know are.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of seems like it's excuse making to me, because quite simply, you're talking about, unless it's encoded into their DNA, okay, the suffering and what we've been through. These Negroes don't know nothing about our history.
No, they don't know nothing about it, but it doesn't negate the fact that you have been socially engineered in such ways to make you be how you are today. It doesn't negate whether they know what happened to them or not. The fact that it still happened.
So who are you talking about? So who are you talking about?
I'm talking about
because you're not talking about yourself.
No, I'm not talking about myself.
So who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ones that don't have the knowledge that I have, that we have, right? Because that's what separates us from them. We have the knowledge and we apply it, and so we get a different product.
So
they don't have the knowledge.
So our knowledge has made all the things that you were talking about our past less or not impactful at all in our lives.
Not as impactful, yes. I definitely say that, yes. Because we're not under the illusion that most of our people are under. It's like we had a conversation, me and Sister Cassie, one time about this quote unquote curse. And she's like, we're under the generational curse. The fuck, we ain't under no damn curse. It's ignorance.
And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It ain't no damn conspiracy. Nobody kept you from going to the library to read. I just turned in my grades, and you get all of these complaints after they see what they actually earned.
Mm-hmm.
I had a student tell me that they didn't have time to go to the library. They couldn't, this and I just, this thing right here, this has more information in it than when I was coming up, we could even fathom.
Exactly.
And I explained it to one of my students. I said, when we used to buy like Athlon Sports or whatever, the new NFL, and somebody got traded, we didn't get no new book.
Mm-hmm.
That was what you had. You better use your imagination about what the lineup gonna look like with this fool in center field versus him being on the Phillies.
Right.
My thing is quite simply, and this goes back to Sherrone Moore. That Negro did this.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody set him up.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody tell him, oh yeah, girl, go on over there and put it on Sherrone. No. She was hired to be his executive assistant, and he looked at her and looked at his wife and was probably like, "Oh, this one a hell of a lot younger and cuter. Let me see what's up with her," because other people do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I'll inject race into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rules that we have to operate under, the margin of error is very small versus other folk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will give you that. But ain't nobody set this Negro up. This Negro did this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he needs to own it. He needs to stand on that square and say, yo, I did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Versus him and hawing about things. And I, as a historian, it always rubs me the wrong way when I hear people trying to use what we've been through to explain 21st century ignorance and inefficiency. No, you did this. You did this. Own up to it. And until you own up to it, you can't really change it. You can't really deal with it. You can't even look at it.
Doc, and I remember when I was growing up, and you remember the Calgon commercial where the white lady in the damn tub laying back, Calgon, take me away. Right?
Yeah.
Now as a boy, I'm watching this and I'm up on the TV because I want to see the bubble go down so I can see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. See this naked white lady in the damn tub, right? Because I'm as
early sign of freakism going on right there. You're looking at a naked white woman in a tub and hoping that she go down in the tub on a bubble. Yeah, okay.
So, but as a child growing up watching TV, I'm learning that white women is the best women. I dream of Jeannie. And Jeannie come out of the little thing, yes, master. The little thing she would have on and all that. Yes, master. Would you like for me to do this, master? Would you like for me to do that, master? So how's
that teaching you white women are better?
Cause it's a psychological thing. Because I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm looking at this white woman in this little, whatever you call it, damn outfit, and it's like, damn. And next thing you know, she can do this, she can do that. And then you got another white woman that come on right after that, and she bewitched, and she all nice, this, that.
You was into the paranormal before they used the word paranormal.
This was the mental feeding that we were getting, from TV.
So how do you explain Weezy from the Jeffersons? Did she not have any impact on you at all?
I'm explaining it.
Okay.
When you got Weezy, who's a little plump, compared to I Dream of Jeannie, who was no plump at all, and you looking at I Dream of Jeannie like, God damn. You look at Weezy, you ain't saying, God damn. You ain't saying none of that.
Oh, brother, you. Oh no, man. I can't. Sisters, I ain't with him. I can't go with him.
You're just a chunky Black woman that sometimes berate her husband for trying to be a man, But when you compare those two, Weezy versus I Dream of Jeannie, or even Weezy versus Bewitched, or fuck, even Weezy versus some of the white women in Dallas, the TV show Dallas, you're gonna think the white woman is better. Because you looking at it and you's like, damn. And then you go back to Calgon.
Let me ask you this. It sounds like you watched a lot of white women on TV, my brother.
I sure did, because that's all that they had.
I've never seen I Dream of Jeannie.
You never seen I Dream of?
No.
Shit, I seen I Dream of Jeannie.
Was it any black people in it?
Hell no, there wasn't no black
Well,
people
shit,
in it.
that's why I ain't seen it then.
There wasn't no black people in it. No,
Why was you watching it?
No black people in I Dream of Jeannie
You
whatsoever.
thought you was gonna be white, didn't you?
No, and you know, to be 1,000% honest, it was my grandfather when I went to the army, and he's the one told me, we don't mess with white women. We don't do that. Do you understand me? We do not do that. You ain't do it here. You're not going to go wherever it is that they're going to send you, and you're going to do it there. You will not bring that home to us. That is unacceptable.
Did you adhere to that?
1,000%. Because when I look at my first day, once I got to Fort Campbell, got to the 101st Airborne Division, to our finance unit, and you know, they took me out to lunch, went to a Chinese spot, and there's white waitresses working in the Chinese spot, and we're sitting at the table, and there's a white waitress sitting right directly across from me at another table, and she's sitting there with her legs wide open. And I'm looking, I'm like, she ain't got no underwear on. So I'm telling them at the table, yo, this chick over there with her legs sitting wide open, she ain't got no underwear on. And they was like, yeah, she look the way she looking at you, she trying to get you. Go on over there. I was like, nah, I ain't going to. Go on over there. So they pushed me to go over there. So I go over there, and she's like, yeah, I like you. You look nice, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, you in a relationship? Yeah, I'm married. But he out in the field. He's 11 bang bang. He out in the field. You can come on over tonight. No, I
bang bang, huh?
That shit. Ain't no fucking way in the world. And that was my introduction to the way that the white woman thinks. That was my introduction to understanding what my granddaddy said. Because I ain't never seen no black woman sitting at no table with her legs wide open and she ain't got no underwear on. I ain't never seen that out of no black woman. But I seen that the first time that I'm free, grown, and on my own. What I see. That damn devil right there. Open it on up. Nah, baby, I passed on that.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I have seen some sisters like that now. That might be the circles that I moved in. I've seen that. But back to Sherrone Moore, because the Tranquil is telling us to get back on task. But it's a situation for me that when you're talking about the idea, and it's one of the things that as a nation we have talked about, but we haven't really delved into it. The idea of interracial sex and miscegenation, that was a major issue for a very long time. And I've met brothers. There was I had a group of students who had latched on to me and what have you. And these were brothers who were, they were about the Panthers. They always want to talk about the Panthers. They want to talk about black nationalism. They want to talk about Malcolm. And my son, I would have my son with me oftentimes when I would go out to work, and they say, oh man, come on now, Little Jones don't want to be stuck in this office with you. Let Little Jones. So you go ahead and they take my son and they go hang out. So I gotta go pick him up. So I go over to their apartment to pick him up, and when I pick him up, there's a white girl there, and I'm like, hey, brothers, what is y'all doing? And they was like, man, we getting ready to strike one for the race. You had no idea what we getting ready to do to this white girl. And I'm just like, you have that coming out of the forbiddance of interracial sex. You have, and I do believe that people have fetishes. But I don't think that what you're seeing with black men 80 to 90% of the time, I don't think that their gravitation to white women for whatever reason is necessarily it's not a fetish, and it's not necessarily a physical attraction thing.
Mm.
I think that oftentimes when we're dealing with the idea of being black and male in America, that we're often talking about how do I get over? How do I go ahead and make it in this world? In the making it in this world, because the logical thing to say next would be, well, professional athletes are going to make it in this world because they make all of this money. But that's not necessarily making it in this world smoothly,
Mm.
because you need, as scripture refers to it, as a helpmeet. And
Mm.
let's be very, very clear. It takes a special understanding and personality and ability to sacrifice oneself for a woman to be a helpmeet for a man.
Mhm.
It's just what it is. There is no getting around that. And anyone who has been married and been a part of a failed marriage, and then you find someone that you really fit with, and that person is a helpmeet, it's night and day.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you have brothers who may be from backgrounds or situations that are less than optimal, and they wind up getting with a woman, let's say a white woman for our intent, for our purposes here, who is
Mhm.
able to handle the business side of things for them, they ain't letting that go. And it has nothing to do with the size of her ass. It has nothing to do with any of those other things. She handles home. And I know some brothers who have someone who handles home, and she turns a blind eye to his sexual transgressions, and that works for them. She's able to sit up in a $4,000-5,000 square foot house, but she knows that he's probably out doing what it is that he does, what he's always done, and he wouldn't trade her for the world, and she wouldn't trade that lifestyle for the world.
Mm.
So it's finding their fit, and it's going to be very difficult for you to find a fit of a black woman who has been raised up within a home, even with a black mother and a black father, who they're going to tell their daughter, listen, there's some times when you're just going to have to turn your head and close your eyes. You're probably never going to hear that coming out of a black family. And so if you're a brother that needs somebody to go ahead and dumb it down every once in a while, they ain't gonna be the one for you, because you're going to be very clearly versed in the fact that if you cheat, you're going to lose your money.
Yeah, I think that I would agree that, and it seems like to me that, white women, if you cheat on them, they're not going to divorce you because you do that. It's something that's, I don't know, instilled in them that shit is just going to happen. So you just roll with the punches.
I mean, let's be honest that black men, when you look at it and you think about it logically, who is more accommodating to women than black men? Black men are the most accommodating, generally speaking, of any race of men that you're going to come across, because we've been raised by women, and we, by and large, have had to interact with women. Other races are not like that. They had this thing they talked about. I don't know if it's still appropriate today or not. They called it the third grade syndrome.
Mm.
And it was that moment with Mexican boys where they realized they were males. And they're raised up in machismo homes,
Mhm.
okay, where the man rules that roost. I had one of my students, he told me the story. He had gotten arrested for something, and they brought in this Mexican guy who was going to be his cellmate. And he says, listen, they'll never be able to straighten him out. He said, I asked him, what you in here for? He said, I was falsely arrested. He said, well, okay, so what they say you did? He
Mm.
said, they say that I kicked my wife's ass. And he said, well, did you do it? Yeah, I did it, but I did it in my house. They arrested me for something I did and he said he could not get the understanding that you can't whoop her ass in the street or at home. Because he's still going by those old world rules that I can whoop your ass in the house. Ain't nobody gonna see it.
Right.
Ain't no 911. Okay. You gonna just have a well whipped ass. Well, Mexican boys, they by the third grade, many of them, they starting to smell themselves, as old black folk would say. And female teachers cannot make them do anything. So they're coming from that culture. And one of my very good friends, I made a joke with her. I said, I said, these sisters keep messing up. I might have to go get me a white girl. She married a white guy. She said, listen, got serious, because the conversation was laughing and joking up to that point. She said, listen, I love you and I want you to hear me. The white world is something you know nothing about. She said, you have no idea what they are like behind closed doors. Now, this is someone I love. This is this was my best female friend at Ohio State telling me this. Okay. So you take those archetypes, those understandings of what manhood is, what leadership is, what being head of household is. They're ruling with an iron fist. Black men, by and large, don't do that. Okay, and it's one of the reasons why you have this situation where black women are liable to come out their mouth and say anything in the world to a black man.
Exactly.
Other races don't do that.
Right.
They simply don't. And one of my great, because I love black women, and I don't want a situation where we think that we got a serial killer on the loose again. If them sisters go over there into the white man's house and tell him what the fuck they ain't gonna do, fucking Mr. Cartwright will kill everybody, including the dog, because he was a witness.
Exactly.
So in every way, black men, by and large, when you're talking about the idea of manhood, they've been more accommodating, more pliable, more flexible. You can even see this. Just do any perusal around social media. You don't hear white women talking about white men like black women talking about black men. You do not hear that.
Chinese, Asian, you don't hear that.
You don't hear any other group like that. I remember Kevin Samuels had an interesting question that he would ask some of his callers. Do black women belong to black men? And by and large, the answer was no. And you see that over and over again. And it pains me, and this is dealing with Sherrone Moore, that here you have a brother with all of these financial resources, and one has to ask themselves, when did he get with his white wife? What were the circumstances surrounding them getting together? At what point of his career what was he in when they got together? That would be interesting to know. Because what we by and large do is we sit back and we see the brother at the finish line with the $5.5 million contract, and we say, look right there, see right there, as if they got 3 kids, so they've been together for a while. Where was he at when was he a high school coach volunteering? And then looked up and met somebody who was able to hook him up with a paying job, and then and they built together. That's an issue. And then the idea that we rarely want to talk about when we talk about the idea of manhood. Is it possible to be in this is a question that I would like to ask everybody in the audience, if you go to the chat and just answer this. Is it possible to be a man, to have manhood, and not be making over $40,000? Is that possible?
Earth Angel says black men didn't used to beat their women, which I see and research is definitely a learned behavior. This is why I can't date white men, though I've seen some cute ones.
She on the way. She on the way.
They will unalive the whole family.
Yeah, see, she's talking about they're cute. That's the first step.
Mm, mm,
Next
mm,
thing you know, Earth Angel ain't gonna be here with us no more.
mm, 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 mm.
But see, the thing is that like, and I'll deal with the first part of this statement. Black men didn't used to beat their women. Let's be very clear that black folk are not a monolith. And you got some brothers out here. I remember, looking at those black exploitation movies, and I'm a child of the '80s, so I remember seeing some situations of domestic violence within Black America. They were rare, but I do remember seeing that occur. But at the exact same time, I also know that when you look up serial killers outside of Wayne Williams, you had a safe bet if you said that they was white.
Mm. So Earth Angel says yes to your question. Even if you're making 40,000, you're still considered a man.
That you could still be a man.
Mhm.
The question that has to be really dealt with is the uncoupling of a person's value and worth with their earnings. Because you would think if you listen to social media, you would think the sisters is making $500,000.
Mm. Mhm.
But when you look at the data, they don't even make as much as Mexican men make. Mexican men have passed black women, and they're creeping up on black men.
One thing that I want us to look at is the emotional intelligence that Brother Moore shows in this crisis. How do we handle adversity? When the bottom falls out, do we have the spiritual and an emotional foundation to stand, or do we just crash? This highlights the need for mental fortitude, spiritual grounding before a crisis hits. Now, I want to show a video of Herman Moore, and after they won a big game, and this is a key to his emotional maturity. Let's look at this and come back.
To win on the road in this environment when there were doubts. Sherrone, what does it mean to you?
I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh. Fucking love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This is for you. For this university, the president, our AD. We got the best players, best university, best alumni in the country. Love you guys. These fucking guys right here. These guys right here, man. These guys did it. These guys did it, man. Talk to him, man. Love you.
Thank you, Coach.
Now, to me, that's just foolish.
He looked like Christopher Darden there when he was crying after OJ went home.
That's just foolishness. And so, we can look at this that, after the bottom falls out, then now, I want to kill myself. You just fall apart. When it's a situation that, as you said, that, you created, you chose to do what you did. And now that you got blown up for it, you don't have that spiritual nor emotional intelligence to stand on your own 2 feet.
I mean, it's going to rain on the just and the unjust.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of working on oneself should be occurring on a around the clock basis during the good times and the bad times. My favorite baseball player of all time is a brother that I'm sure you know, Ricky Henderson. I love Ricky Henderson. Ricky would speak in the third person oftentimes, but Ricky Henderson talked about when he was on a good hitting streak. He said, when I'm hitting the ball really well, he said, I am so focused on what it is that I'm doing. He said, well, if I go into a slump, I don't focus on that no more. I go up there and I try different things because I'm trying to figure out what is going to work. I think that our spiritual life and being prepared for that storm is kind of like that. That when things are going well, you need to be so focused upon keeping things going and preparing yourself, because a storm is coming. You know, the great saying that you're either in a storm going into one or coming out of one is gospel. And if people don't prepare for when that storm is coming, you're going to get what you just saw. But to put in context what you just saw with what he was doing, that was the first game that he was allowed to coach as the head coach. He had been, once again, gifted that position and that opportunity. That's why he's saying to Harbaugh, to the athletic director, because he knows they hooked his ass up. They gave him the supreme opportunity to earn that type of money. He didn't work his way up through the ranks to get that position. He didn't win no search. Okay. He was kind of installed there in that position. And unfortunately, he didn't respect it. He hadn't worked on himself enough to be able to hold on to it. He just hadn't. And now look at that.
Well, I want us to look at two things: the moral clause and the economic trap. And we have a picture of Harbaugh and Brother Moore. Now, white coaches often get suspended or allowed to resign with dignity and their money when the scandal hits. You can look at Urban Meyer and the grace extended to Jim Harbaugh during his cheating scandal. But for the black coach, the moral clause is a trap door. Now, Jim Harbaugh cheated in the game.
The whole University of Michigan football program cheated.
And
for 4 years.
And got a championship and an NFL job now. Right? Now,
he had to leave. He had to leave the University of Michigan because they put a show cause on him. So he couldn't have coached there anymore. But what you're seeing, I think that what you're seeing, and this plays out all the time, and it's going to play out with Sherrone Moore as well. The coaching game is all about connections and how vast your network is, and you'll find these going from job to job and place to place because they have connections. So one guy gets fired as Nick Saban was brilliant at this. If you get fired as a head coach, go to Alabama. You become a assistant coach, quality control, or something like that, and you can rehab your image. You're gonna get paid, and then when a new job opens up, you get in a job. That's rare for black coaches. If black coaches mess up, that's usually it. You know, have you ever heard the name Randy Ayers?
No.
He was head basketball coach at Ohio State. Black players acted a fool. Randy Ayers got fired. He's like the stretching coach for NBA teams now. Never got to be the head man again. So yeah. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So with Harbaugh, he had moral clause issues going on, but they didn't get to do what they did to Brother Moore. He got grace and then went to the NFL and got more grace. So this is a clear double standard. There's no sense of justice here.
I don't know if I would call it a double standard because they're both going to lose their jobs. They're losing the exact same job. It's just that Harbaugh found himself because he's already been an NFL head coach. And so they go ahead and just absorb him I think he went to San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, but Harbaugh didn't lose no money. He didn't lose no money. They didn't say, "Oh, you was cheating." There's a moral clause here that you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be upright and upstanding and representing the university in all its best ways.
Come on, man. This is university.
They didn't do that to Harbaugh like they did to him.
This is University of Michigan, man. That There
But
ain't,
still,
there ain't no
failure.
moral clause there.
It's a failure. It is a definite failure of a moral cause. I mean, because you cheating in the realm that you're working in. All right, the brother shouldn't have done it, but he's having an affair with a staffer, and all that we know, at some point, the affair was a mutual agreement. At
But
some
see,
point,
what you're looking for is something that they can't do, and that's be honest and consistent. That's not the University of Michigan way. You sound like a Buckeye fan right now because you're saying exactly what we said. Okay, when they got caught cheating, the NCAA didn't punish them. The NCAA actually punished Michigan State. Okay, but that's who they are. There are no rules there. To be honest with you, there simply aren't. And because there aren't any rules there, they do what they want to do. They strike. I wouldn't even call them backroom deals. These are front room deals that have no morality associated with them. Now, what are they going to do with him? To him? Oh, they're going to prosecute him to the fullest letter of the law. Because above and beyond everything else, they didn't want him. And that's really what it comes down to. They didn't want him, not anymore. And I spend a lot of time on their message boards and I read the things that they say. They didn't want him. They didn't want him any more than the University of Texas wanted Charlie Strong. So they're going to, you're absolutely right. When you say a moral call, it takes us back to that rule that we always talk about. And it is quite simply, there are different rules. Everybody has the same rules, but they're just not applied the same to everybody. Because there is someone that is in an office that can say, you know what, I'm just tired of the whole thing. Just let Harbaugh go, give him his money, let him go. And that same person may say he embarrassed the university. And what's really occurring in the back of their minds is he did this to a white woman. So he's going to pay. Kind of the exact same thing that happened with OJ. Okay. When that second judge got OJ in front of him, in front of her, she slammed him.
mm-hmm.
Come on. Like Ice Cube said, you better duck because the book is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Our keys over to your woman.
Mm-hmm. Now, for Moore, since he was the first permanent black head coach in Michigan history, fair or not, his failure will be weaponized against the next black candidate.
Okay.
It reinforces that narrative that we aren't ready. We are too risky. It's the burden of the representation. He didn't just lose his job. He damaged the pipeline for others. You know, it reminds me of Proverbs where it says, he hath no rule over his own spirit, is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So when you're looking at the pipeline for future, black coaches that want to try to go to Michigan to be a head coach, how much damage will they have to be able to show that this wouldn't happen to me because I'm the safe bet?
The only Negro that I think is qualified to go to the University of Michigan right now and serve as the head coach would be Charles Woodson, because he's so popular and he's so beloved by that community. Anybody else, Tyrone Wheatley, Desmond Howard, anybody else, you're going to be looked at so skeptically. It is not going to happen. It's the idea that black failure represents and covers the entire race. Black success is the exception to the rule. So it's not going to uplift anyone else other than this one person. So it's the same thing it's the reason why black women should cringe when they see Bumquisha come into a restaurant wilding out. because what Bumquisha is going to do is going to harm the racial brand and how you're viewed. I was at one of the things I used to do years ago, and if my students see this, I don't do this no more. I used to take my majors out to dinner wherever they wanted to go. And I had a student who wanted to go to this place called Grand Lux Cafe.
Mm.
It is a offshoot of the Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory. Some people think it's swanky, fine dining. It's not, but we go there. And while we're sitting there talking about what his next step was going to be, he wanted to go to grad school. So we're talking about how we facilitate that, make that happen. I saw them coming to the door, and I had been down at Lux enough times that I knew who the manager was. She was a very small, pretty Black woman. Them that I said I saw coming, look here. They had on flip-flops, wife beaters, and their shorts was hanging off of their asses. Them. Okay. So they come in, and the Lux has a pseudo dress code and what have you, and they wouldn't let them in the front door, but they made it into the lobby area. And I saw this brother reach into his pocket. He pulled out a bankroll, man, that was just astounding. Okay. And he said loud enough for everybody in the restaurant to hear, I got enough money right here to buy me a nigga. What you mean I can't come in here?
Mm.
Grand Lux, their waiters had a look. They're almost all like slender, with, kind of that European look. Like that's what they aiming for. They need some brothers with some girth. Because on this occasion, them brothers was getting ready to tear up the whole staff, right? One of them little white waiters is looking around because we looking at them. He makes eye contact with me, comes over to the table and asks me, do you know them? I said, hell no, I don't know them niggas. You better take your ass back over there and get that ass whooping you got coming. Okay. So you have a situation where people can behave in a way where they damage the pipeline, where they damage the racial brand. So the next Black person that comes through, they're going to be evaluated like they're the last person that messed up on the job. And it's one of the more shameful things that our people don't understand, that you should always try to leave a place better than when you arrived, because the next person might need to pass through there as well.
I want to deal a little closer in and explain the offensive that Jim Harbaugh actually done. Mm-hmm. And all of this was under the same athletic director.
Yeah, Manuel Wardy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no positions of the people over top changes, the same people. Mm-hmm. So Jim Harbaugh, the professional cheater, the professional cheater. His thing was he presided over a massive cheating scandal, sign and signal, the Connor Stallions, and recruiting violations during the COVID dead period, lying to investigators. These are level 1 NCAA violations that attack the integrity of the game. The consequences: Michigan offered him a contract extension while he was under investigation.
Yep.
He was eventually allowed to serve a suspension and then leave on his own terms for the NFL.
Yep.
And he kept his money and his reputation. Now, take away from that, you can cheat the game and still be treated like a king if you're the right color. Sherrone Moore, his was a personal failure. The offense, allegedly having a consensual but inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This is a policy violation, but it does not affect the competitive integrity of the football games. The consequences? He was fired for cause immediately. This legal maneuver allows Michigan to void his buyout, saving their university roughly $14 million. He leaves with nothing, no money, no job, but he gets to leave with a mugshot. The takeaway? A black man's personal life is scrutinized more harshly than a white man's professional corruption. Point blank. This is actual facts.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll tell you why I got a problem with what you just said.
Okay.
One is the fact that Jim Harbaugh left with his reputation. His reputation, he ain't got no goddamn positive reputation. Okay. He was a scumbag when he got there, a weirdo. Okay. And he's a scumbag weirdo now. Okay. That's just, he does not have no good reputation. That's the first.
He got good reputation amongst his Michigan people and his white folks. He got good reputation.
No.
Oh,
If you go back and look at when he got them in trouble, it was a scandal. They are the personification of what let me say it this way. A portion of their fan base is cultish, that they don't care what it is that happened. Okay. Just as long as you win and you're Harbaugh, you good. They're going to support him kind of like Trump supporters will support them. Okay. This brother right here, and this is sort of my other thing. Come on, and just like I know that when it's on the job, it's not personal. That's a part of your professional life. It's not personal. Okay. Now, if she had no relationship to him at the job, that's personal. If he was just cheating on his wife, that's personal. But the fact that he is dealing with a subordinate, that's a problem. And the reason it's going to be a problem, this is why I say it's not personal, it's professional, is because you've opened us up to lawsuits. Because she could very well turn around and say, well, he coerced me, which is their way of saying he raped me. I couldn't say no to him. And then he was stalking me. Once he got a little bit of the white powder, he couldn't stop. So he's ruined regardless. But Harbaugh has been and always will be a sleazebag, but he's well connected. Okay. And when an NFL job came up, because one of the problems that University of Michigan fans had with Harbaugh was raw dog out in the public for like maybe 3 years, actively interviewing with NFL jobs. He just couldn't get one. Okay, the Minnesota Vikings brought him in and wouldn't hire him. And that totally, in many ways, killed their recruiting classes because all the recruits knew that Harbaugh was trying to leave. Actively trying to leave, and he lucked up in like some people. Lane Kiffin is another one. They fell upwards.
Mm-mm-mm. We're going to look at another situation. What's his name? Your dude, Urban Meyer.
How you become my dude?
We will compare his thing at Ohio.
See, I take that personal. Because I have a connection to Urban Meyer that predates when he became the head football coach at Ohio State. Urban Meyer, and this is part of why I never say that these cats making these millions of dollars are being paid too much. Urban Meyer, and there was another one of our assistant coaches who were actually living in the locker room. Okay. They didn't make enough to even have an apartment. They just lived in the locker room. They slept in the locker room and what have you. And my boss would make me go out and buy them fast food. He would say, yo, go there and get so-and-so. And I would go get it and I would give it to him. So yeah, when he went back to Ohio State, my boss, he said, listen, this is what we're going to do. See if he remember you. And I had to go buy some fast food. I walked in there with him and he said, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I can't believe you still here. I was like, nah, I ain't still here, man. But yeah. So take it easy on Urban.
So this is Urban Meyer. His situation in 2018, it was revealed that Urban Meyer, a white coach, knew about domestic abuse allegations against his assistant coach, Zach Smith, and kept him on staff for years, effectively covering up. The outcome, Meyer was suspended for only 3 games. He was not fired for cause. He was allowed to finish the season and retire due to health reasons, keeping his millions and his legacy intact. The comparison: covering up the domestic violence, which is a crime, a literal crime, got a 3-game suspension. Having a relationship with a staffer got Brother Moore the death penalty of his career.
But he did it.
So did Urban Meyer.
What did he do?
He committed a crime by covering up domestic violence. The man was beating the hell out of his wife. And he knew it for years and did not open his mouth and say nothing. Kept it going like the university didn't have a moral clause and kept covering. Kept covering.
You reading that totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Nope.
You're reading that totally wrong, brother. That's not what happened.
Actual.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
That's actual facts.
No, that's not what happened.
Yes, we can't cover up for your friends.
I ain't asking you to cover up for nobody. What I'm saying to you is that's not what actually. When you talking about Zach Smith, right?
Exactly.
Zach Smith. Who's his grandfather?
I have the foggiest idea who.
Okay, his grandfather is Earl Bruce. Okay, Earl Bruce used to be the head football coach at Ohio State. Okay, Earl Bruce arranged for Zach to get that job. He was the wide receivers coach. Okay, everybody knew that Zach Smith was a fuck up. Okay, but they kept him around because of Earl Bruce. Now, how do you fault Urban Meyer for Zach Smith and his wife beating the hell out of each other on damn near a weekly basis? That's where my problem is. Okay, I can't do nothing about that. Okay, that he kicking her ass and she kicking his ass, and that's exactly what was occurring.
Still a moral clause.
What kind of moral clause?
You can't beat your wife.
Well, then
and you can't cover it up.
Fire his ass. They fired him.
They didn't fire Urban Meyer. They let him go with his.
Why I got to lose my job because you can't?
Because he knew about it and he covered up the crime.
Everybody knew about it.
That's a moral clause issue there.
Everybody knew about it.
It was his personal responsibility.
About it. You're trying to tell me that I should have got fired because I knew about it?
I'm saying he was the coach. He worked for him and he knew about it. He failed his moral clause to say, hey, you got to stop and you ain't going to stop it. I'm getting you out of here.
Did he? He did say that. He did say that.
Years later?
He did say, if y'all don't stop acting a fool, then you getting ready to get fired. That's what happened.
He should have been done it. He failed at the moral clause.
No.
He failed. He didn't pass the moral clause test. He failed. He's a criminal. He's a criminal.
My God.
Aiding and abetting. He's a criminal. He should be in jail. Now let's go on to the next.
Yeah. Just go on to the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
That's
here we have Pat Fitzgerald.
Now, Fitzgerald.
I'm sorry. That's right. Pat Fitzgerald. The Northwestern white coach was fired for cause due to a massive hazing scandal involving sexualized abuse among players. Fitzgerald sued the university for wrongful termination Just a few months ago, back in August of 2025, he received a massive settlement from the university and stated he felt vindicated. Now, the point is, even when white coaches are fired for cause, they often have the institutional support and legal leverage to fight back and get paid to go away. Will Brother Moore get a settlement, or will he just get a criminal record? He's just going to get a criminal record. But this criminal, he gets paid and gets to walk away and say, yeah, I feel vindicated. He was a goddamn criminal of the first order.
I know that you unaware of this, but you know, Pat Fitzgerald actually just got the job that Mel Tucker got fired from.
Oh my God!
They got fired at Michigan State.
God damn!
Yeah, he's the new head coach at Michigan State.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. So by adding insult to injury. He's the new coach.
Wow.
No, shit happens, man. You know, this is life. This is life. That's what life is, a 4-letter word, brother. Like fucking shit. It's life. You know what I'm saying? It's so he, that's the head man at Michigan State. And we ain't heard from Mel Tucker since. Wonder what Mel Tucker doing right now.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
See, you're trying to be a literalist. you want the rules to be applied equally across the board. You know, like Childish Gambino said, "This is America." You ain't getting the rules are not going to be applied evenly across the board. What it is.
Lord have mercy. It's a shame and a scandal.
I mean,
it is a shame and a scandal.
Yeah, it's just shit happens, man. We try to do right, man, but that's you got the complexion, like Paul Mooney would say, you got the complexion for the protection. They go getting ready to beat on Sherrone Moore like he a rented mule. That's what's coming. Because the biggest question I got right now is who gonna pick him up from the jail? Number one, and number two, where they taking him? Because he can't go home, and he done messed up his side chick thing. He can't go stay in the locker room. Well, I'm sure they'll call the police on him for trespassing if he show up over there at the big house.
Wow. So, Doc, the betrayal of the mission. We always talk about how white men play dirty and how the system is rigged. We know that, but Brother Moore should have known that too. He knew he was the first black head coach. He knew all eyes were on him. He knew they were looking for a reason to void that contract. I'm going to say that he knew that. But Doc, what is the hardest pill to swallow? Is it what Michigan did to him or what he did to us? Which is the hardest pill to swallow?
I don't look at him as representative of black men. Even before his fall, I didn't look at Sherrone Moore as representative of black men. You see him what's the brother's name? Mark Lamont Hill. You see him crying all on camera like he Mark Lamont Hill. And he got all emotional and what I don't see him as a apt representation of black men. So the idea that he failed black men or black manhood. I don't buy that. Now, as to what U of M did to him, it has no impact whatsoever in my mind upon black men whatsoever. It's just another brother that had an opportunity and he fumbled it in such a way that they slit his throat. So I don't see either one of those things as being a bitter pill to swallow, because he's not. At no point will you ever see a Sherrone Moore or someone of his ilk standing up for a black cause, because he's in many ways not beholden to us. He's beholden. He's showing you who he's beholden to. He's beholden to the University of Michigan. And that separation from there drove him so crazy that he went over there with knives like he was OJ, getting ready to kill the white woman and himself. You know you done lost your mind. If you're talking about stabbing yourself to death, what kind of sense that make? So I don't jump on these bandwagons of, look at what they did to the black man. No, they did that to Sherrone Moore after he did what he did. Don't hyperextend this to a point where it's absurd, and it's as if it's addressing all of black men. It's not. It's no different than if Ike beat Tina. You shouldn't be able to stand up and say, "Oh, look at how black men treat black women." No, you're extending this. Your coverage is too wide in regards to that. What happened in this situation is you had a man who saw a cute executive assistant. He made his move. She went ahead and was down with the get down. Something upset the apple cart. They both knew they were under investigation. She pissed him off, and she fucked up her money and fucked up his money, because in a moment of emotionalism, she went and told the truth instead of going down with a lie. And by going down with the truth, by going ahead and telling the truth, she went ahead and proved herself to be a liar and dishonest, because she lied to U of M earlier, and she cut his throat at the exact same time.
Only thing I'll add that, Doc, if we apply that standard, that same standard that you just spoke about, Sherman, Brother Moore, shouldn't we apply that same standard to black women?
What do you mean?
Because for Sherman Moore, you were saying that Sherrone Moore, that it's just reflection on him. It's not all black men. But when we were discussing black women, you didn't say some black women. You said black women. You just labeled it.
I said I'm speaking in general. Okay, I'm not talking about all black women. Okay, no, I don't do that. I
thought when you say you're speaking in general, meaning not Pacific, but yeah, in general. So that's a
50.1%. This could apply to. That's in general.
50. Wait a minute. You said that
50.1%. That's general.
Boy, Doc, you gonna get you a lot of hate mail. You know that, man.
What did I say?
For you, Doc.
What did I say? 50.1%. That's general. General isn't 20%. Okay, when we talk, we speak in general. Now, do I believe that if a sister, okay, do I believe that Sexy Red and Suki Hana represent black women? Emphatically no. That's not a indicator of black women in general. Those are two black women. The same way with Sherrone Moore. That's one black man. You can't expand that and say that this represents all of them. However, there are some things that, 50.1%, it applies.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move to closing comments. If Sherrone Moore was a politician, what would have been his outcome? Would he have been able to stay in office? Would they have kicked him out of office? Would he have been still in jail? What would have happened to him?
I believe that it would depend upon what was best for the party. If the party was afraid of losing women's support, they would throw him in the penitentiary under the jail. But if it would not cost the party anything, he would go home that day.
Wow. Definitely. Well, anything else you want to say for your closing comments, Doc?
Well, man, it's always the same, man. Just happy to be home, man. Happy to be here, man. This is good. You deal with outside populations, you deal with all this other stuff that you don't necessarily want to deal with. And to be able to do something specifically for me, for you, for us is one of the highlights of my week, man.
Definitely. All right. And we want to thank everybody that joined us. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for liking, sharing the video, and making sure you definitely put a like on there. As we continue to grow and continue to outreach, we hope that you all liked our song that we played at the beginning of the program. 50.1% is that what happened in Europe, Spain, Africa, Asia when black men went.
I have no idea what that means. If you want to explain that to me, you can feel free, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Earth Angel be on it, boy. I tell you. We'll give her a few minutes, see if she drop another comment in there before we shut it down. Give her a second.
While we waiting, Dog, if you're still there, go Yankees. That's all I can say, brother.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close down the program. As we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black First, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
So you better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in